but I don't know about the video. I'll have to tell you in about in a few minutes or so. Okay.
Or if you told you I could do recorder as well.
You should have said that.
I am a journalist. Come on.
Yeah. Hello there, podcast listeners. On this episode, we are going to talk to a very intelligent, smart and enthusiastic student called Debora, who recently passed her IELTS exam and she was more than happy. And so she wanted to, well, actually, she didn't want to. It was me. I persuaded her and suggested that she do an interview to help and inspire you guys listening. So, hello there, Debora. How are you?
Hi, Ben. Fine now. I passed the IELTS. I'm fine.
Fantastic. Alrighty then. So, Debora, could you just tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you decided to take the IELTS exam, please?
Of course. I come from Italy. I need IELTS to go to a master in London, a master in interactive journalism. And they asked me for 7 overall and 7 in writing. So I took twice the exam. The first time I got 7 overall, but I didn't get 7 in writing. And now I've got 7 in writing.
Awesome. All right. What did you get before? Was it
5.5? The score? You mean the score?
Yeah.
I've got 5.5 in writing, 7.5 in speaking and listening, and 6.5 in reading. And the last time, I've got 6.5 in speaking and listening, 8 in reading, and 7 in writing.
Wow, excellent results there. Excellent. So you jumped 1.5 bands.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well done, Debora. Well done.
In 2 weeks.
In 2
wow. weeks.
In 14...
So we started 2 weeks before the exam.
Yeah. Wow, that is crazy. Wow, I didn't think it was that short. I thought it was longer. I don't know. I think the last
it was like 14 or 16 days, I think.
Wow. I just totally didn't know. I've just been working so much and correcting so many essays. I just didn't realize. But wow, that is awesome. Well done. So, what was the main challenges you were having with... No, first of all, how did you prepare for the IELTS the first time? What did you do?
For the we are talking about writing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The first time, I went in London to follow IELTS preparation course. But in my opinion, the thing is that teachers don't know what they're talking about. I mean, they never try to do an IELTS exam. So they was just speaking theoretically. So yes, of course, they gave us some advices. They suggest some tips to follow, but I think they don't know exactly what they're talking about. So when I studied for 5 months, I don't know, I was just trying to improve my grammar because I feel weak in grammar.
Yeah.
And I feel enough confident in coherence and cohesion because I think I have, I don't want to say a big knowledge of the world, but I am a journalist, so I think I know some arguments, some topics like environment, politics, or social issues. So I felt enough confident with the coherence and cohesion, but not with grammar. However, it happened that maybe I was better in grammar than in coherence and cohesion because it was hard to follow what the IELTS wants.
Yeah.
I think that was the point.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of students actually do find very difficult, you know? I mean, one of the most common things is finding ideas, but like you said, you're studying journalism, so you've got a good base of, you've got a good idea of what's happening in the world already, so you got that covered, but actually sort of like putting that in a structure or in a piece of writing.
Exactly, in the way that they want.
Exactly.
Because the first time when I got 5.5, like the second time, the topic was very familiar for me because they ask me about the social housing. So during my job, I follow some issues about social housing. So I probably know what was the problem, how to solve the problem, what government can do, what people can do. I really knew what is the topic, but I couldn't write down in the way that they asked me for. So I got 5.5.
Exactly. This is so common. And the problem is that with these types of questions, it's so tempting to give like a very intelligent and adequate answer that's probably more knowledgeable than a lot of people could actually give, especially if it's about a subject that you know. Like in your case, it was about housing. Like you say, you just finished a topic of housing. However, what the exam wants is just to sort of like use the topics as more or less as sort of like just test to see if you know the vocabulary for that, and if you can actually, and the testing if you can sort of like construct an argument, not the quality of the argument. And I think, and I think this is what is so confusing. This is
another point that I think that is that when you really know a topic, it can be I don't know how to use in English, a knife with the shards.
A double-edged sword.
Because you have a lot of things to say, and you have only 250 words, and you must say what you want to say in the way that they ask you for. So it's risky. It's very risky to write about what you know better.
Exactly, because I think all our lives, normal writing, when we're writing normally, it's usually the quality of the idea, not the way it's presented, or the sort of like structure. And it's just natural. It's like, oh, sweet, I know everything about this subject. Bang, 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 bang. But
that was my reaction.
Yeah.
That was my reaction. And think that the second time they asked me about news media. So when I saw the topic, I said, oh no, again, it's what I know. And I would make the same mistake of the first time. It was the fun. Even though it was my field, because I am a journalist, so I know a lot of things about news media. But, oh my God, not again. I prefer to talk about pollution. It's better.
So you had all these ideas then for the second exam, and you had all these ideas and you knew a lot about the subject and you were really excited. What did you do to sort of like...
I tried to focus on the topic. So, okay, we need to talk about, I need to talk about news media. So what is it, a news media? And I think about, newspaper, websites and radio, for example. So, okay, they are news media. So what are they asking for? Normally, what I can see, from my experience, they exactly ask you what they want from you. So they make you questions. They make you question. So each paragraph is an answer to a question. In my case, they asked me about why the news media were very important, and if they have, how can I say, positive or negative effect. So they write an example to support my idea. So, and a consequence, let's say a consequence of the example. I can say something like this, like that.
Focus on actually what the exam wants, what the actual question says. Yeah, exactly. And
if you remember that my first two essay, you told me that I didn't got the task response.
Yeah. Because it's just so common, it's so common that the student, especially in exam conditions, you might be nervous, you look at the question quickly, you see it's about pollution or whatever, bang, the causes of pollution, when you should be really talking about, is pollution going to be reduced in the next 50 years, in the future? Yeah. So, absolutely, good point there, fantastic. And because
definitely, yes, it was the most precious for me because they exactly, it exactly explain what I need to do. It is exactly what the IELTS examiner needs from me. That's why when I wrote the IELTS, the essay, I wrote the letter, the capital letter. Do you remember that I wrote like G?
I remember.
Blah, blah, blah. And it was to memorize for me was to memorize the acronyms. Then when I went to the exam, I said, okay, the acronym was GOT. What is it GOT? G blah blah blah. O blah blah blah. So for me it was a practice way to.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was like, oops. In London it would have been pricing.
A lot. Yeah, I can tell you, I paid the scholarship paid 5,000, not me, the scholarship paid 5,000, I think 508, and just less than £6,000.
For your IELTS course?
For 5 month course.
For 5 months course, wow. And
they are very expensive. I had a classmate that paid 350, let's say something like that, for 4 days of course during the Easter week. So the Easter week was shorter, was between Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday, not Thursday, because Friday was a bank holiday. So only for 4 days she paid 350.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of money.
That's what I said. I said, why you are here? What are you doing here?
you could be in Spain on the beach.
You can study by yourself for 4 days. Come on. It's personal choices. I know that maybe you just need to be more confident, so you need someone who give you confidence.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's responsible.
What's the name of this scholarship, if you don't mind me asking? Because there'll be so many
students. It's an Italian scholarship. It's called Torno Subito. It means I will be back soon.
I see.
The translation is that. So they pay you for an experience outside the region where there is Rome, outside the Lazio. And then you have to come back to the region for minimum 4 months to use what you learn abroad.
I see.
So they can pay work experience, or they can pay the formation studies, and I apply for an English school because I have a degree in languages, and my language is English. But I never had the opportunity to go abroad to practice what I learned at the university.
I see.
So I have a quite good base start point of English, but I couldn't practice it just to give information about what is the Colosseo. I don't know, but I never speak in English too much.
Okay.
So it was a good chance for me.
Wow, awesome, excellent. Well then, I think that's everything. Now, do you have any tips for other students that are preparing for the IELTS? Do you think they should go to London and spend £5,000?
Well, no, maybe not spend £5,000, but I mean, if they have the opportunity to go to England to practice English, it's okay, because especially for speaking.
Yeah.
And it's important to have the opportunity to speak with English persons, to speak to English speakers. Yeah. But I mean, I think that your sentence guide was very useful for me, because as I told you, I improved from 5.5 to 7 in only 2 weeks, because you exactly provide what we need to pass the exam. I don't know how can you do that, but you do. Wow. But that's what I really need. I really needed to improve my skills in writing. So you gave me what I needed. So that's the point. So I really suggest other students to give you trust. And yeah,
right.
That's it. And another thing that I would like to say is that
Yeah.
a PDF that you provide in your website, I found it very useful, and it was the PDF with the 2,250 essays. Do you know the PDF?
Which one? There's the PDF.
It's an essay with 10 or 20 model answers and 250 titles of essays.
Yeah. There's one. Yeah, I think it's like got 20 model essays.
Yeah.
And 250 sample IELTS questions.
Exactly. And I found it very useful because I could practice how to develop ideas and find example.
Okay, yeah. This is what I tell students. I said, look, if you're struggling for ideas, get that PDF, okay, and work through maybe 10 or 15 questions a day, just going through, thinking of ideas and possible examples. Work through it, and if you do all 250, and even if you're stuck for ideas, just jump online. Go to Google, get ideas, read a lot, get an opinion, and then try the question again. And I really think that if you do all 250, your brain is going to be so full of ideas that it's difficult not to think of ideas,
Yeah.
Which and just by doing this process of going through and thinking of ideas, it's like playing chess. The more times you play chess, the better you get at it, and the more times you think of ideas, the better you get at it, the faster you get at it. And these are just skills which, in reality, they're not anything to do with the English language. It's kind of strange, but you still need them to pass the exam,
Yeah, and the brain is trying to think fast and elaborate and think about what you need faster. When I tried to use that PDF, at the beginning I was very slow.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't match maybe the idea. I couldn't find a properly idea.
Yeah.
And that was hard to match the idea with the example.
Yeah.
But after a couple of exercises, you don't need to write everything, of course. Just write down a structure of your idea.
Exactly.
And after, maybe 20 or 13 essays, ideas, I could think more faster. I could focus faster the idea and the example. So I don't know if I did 250 essays. I don't know, but I did a lot.
But I think you definitely did, because if you worked with the sentence guide, I think you would have definitely done 16 at least. Because you remember that's one of the stages for the self-study part. I say, okay, give me 16 ideas, blah blah blah, for this part. And then we'll progress on to the next one. And part of the reason why it's part of the sentence guide is because it's an essential skill to develop, an exam skill to develop to pass. But I totally forgot about that PDF. Thanks for reminding me. It
was useful for me.
Excellent. Glad you like that. Right then, Debora, thank you so much, and thank you for your very kind comments. I really appreciate it. It helps me a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. And I wish you all the best, really,
Thank you.
with your scholarship, with your English as well. And if you need a hand with anything, just send me an email, and I don't know, your CV or a covering letter or whatever. I would be more than happy to help.
Hi! I finally see you!